Hello. Welcome back. Again, this is episode 8, and we still don't have a name for this. So I'm not even sure we can actually call it a podcast, but worst case scenario, we're going to have some conversations with great people and that I've met along the way. And I would call a friend. Jaaron Richardson is with us today. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. I don't know if you've followed this at all, but I'm in a season of my life where I'm blessed to have met like some really interesting people, not only in the business world, but outside the business world. And I just think the conversations around what we're doing in our lives is really impactful. And I want to share it with as many people as possible. So through the blessings of social media, Think Motion, and my career, I get to do that. So we met, 6 months? 6 months would probably be long.
Let's say 5 to 6.
5 to 6. Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
You've met with our team. We've met. We've got a mutual friend, Michael Bush, who's the managing partner at Northwestern Mutual, connected us, and we hit it off right away. We've got a lot of similarities and kind of how we see the world and approach the world. And you've got a very unique story. So before we even get started, just who are you? Tell everybody who you are.
Some people call me J.A.A. Ron.
J.A.A. Ron. Yeah.
No, I'm just a person who loves to be present with other people, right?
Okay.
I love to be present with other people. I love the whole, hey, how can I, with what I'm capable of doing, add value to your life?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is not just the gun drops and candy in the cloud 9.
Yeah.
It's how can I add value to your life? And if you're willing, from what I do in my profession as a fitness coach, I may make you uncomfortable. And a lot of times when a person is adding value to your life, there's a lot of uncomfortability, a lot of adjustments.
So Ted Lasso says, if you're learning to ride a horse and it's not uncomfortable, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
So talk to me about that. So, I mean, I've got a little bit of a fitness background, and making people uncomfortable is, physically uncomfortable when you're working out, right? You're sweating, you're using muscles, you're breathing hard. The physical uncomfortableness of personal training, it grows your body. So I think you understand it in twofold, right? There's the physical growth and then the mental / spiritual growth that comes with it.
Oh, yeah.
So put those two things together for me.
Oh, there is a correlation.
Yeah.
There's a deep connectedness with all 3 aspects of overall fitness. It's not just physical fitness. Having the spiritual component, having the mental component of overall fitness, and having a healthy boundary when it comes to your overall fitness.
Yep.
Because a lot of times when you're on a journey of living healthier, you may come across people that remembered where you were, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and they want you to yield to certain desires that they remembered you doing.
Right.
Such as drinking all night, or eating excessively, or
right. Why can't we go get wings? Well, I'm not eating fried food now.
Or just staying up and neglecting certain parts of what's needed in order for you to reach certain goals, right? So there's a standard when it comes to making that transformation, having the willingness to adjust to what your coach is asking of you, not just in the gym.
Everywhere.
Yeah. All aspects of your life. And so mentally, you will have, let me back up a little bit. A new client come into performance, health and well-being. They've never really worked out. They're intimidated because of what they see on social media. Social media can be very deceiving.
Blessing and a curse at the same time.
You have all the influencers, and they don't show the sides of what it really takes. It can be very deceiving. And potentially that person can go down like rabbit holes. So my objective is, when I work with new people, is, hey, Forget that.
That's not reality.
That's not reality.
Even though it's reality TV, it's not reality.
Yeah, they tell you, hey, you can have a 6-pack in 2 months and you've never really worked out before. You just follow this program, right? That's not reality.
Right.
Right. Even experienced fitness coaches and people who's been working out forever, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing, you always see those like get shredded in 2 months, and this is your before and after. If you really look at the before, that's actually somebody that's been working out for a while, and they've got like water weight, or they've been drinking a little too. They just got this little bitty thing they've got to burn off. So and you could burn off that. A little bit of that.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory. Yeah. But they're not, it's not somebody that's so deconditioned that they've never. So when you take on a new client, you're trying to get them, because I think the mental, you know, I think about our business, you know, the outcome is X. You got to change the mindset before you change the activities.
There you go.
So how do you attack the mindset first, knowing that the activities are the ones that they're coming to you for, right? If I'm hiring a trainer, I want you to show me how to do a bench press. I don't want you to do some Jedi mind tricks and get my mind right, but that's really what it takes to get going.
What it takes. So I figure out, first and foremost, what their mindset is on. Our mindset is on something that has a lot of influence, whether it be being a workaholic or, you know, friends, or you can have addictions. Your mind is set on something. And so I want to see, what are your influences, whether they're good or bad. And then we start making adjustments. That is my first priority when working with new people. I want to figure out what your mindset is on. And then not throwing so much at them at one time.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, let's make some adjustments here.
You're eating an elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah. One bite at a time. Hey, if you're, for instance, for example, if a person is going to Thornton's and getting 3 Polar Pops, big 64-ounce Polar Pops, right?
With their diet, though.
Yeah,
with their diet.
And I fill it up with ice, right? I say, all right. So right now, okay, I'm going to change the habit little by little. So instead of giving a 64-ounce, just say get a 32-ounce or 20-ounce, right? Or you can get 2 64s and 1 20-ounce. We start there.
Yep.
I'm not going to take it away immediately, right? It's just like cold turkey and something. They probably been doing this for years.
Right. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like, a habit is not something you picked up 30 days ago. It's been ingrained in you for a long time.
Ingrained, or even passed down, right?
You don't even know how you got that habit.
Exactly. And then I gradually add new habits, working out. And, you know, I make the 20-ounce last, so they can reward themselves again with the 64.
Right.
And so there's a strategy, there's a tactic to getting people to develop a stronger mindset and to adopt a new way of life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so this is my friend Michael, who we both know. He gives me crap all the time because I'm the kind of, I'm like, I'm gonna work out, so I don't go from like, I don't dip my toe in the water. I like skinny dip off the top, like just straight.
Here we are.
But it's not sustainable either. And I think you know, James Clear, Atomic Habits. Yeah,
love
these
that.
1% changes over time. Yeah, just compounds exponentially. And if you can make these small little tweaks, whether it's drinking more water, that's probably the one thing for my health that has changed, is just drinking more water. So I replace Coke with water, and then all of a sudden I don't overeat. I don't have these cravings in the middle of life. So you find these like one little things, and you just build and build and build, and I love that. So, how did you become a trainer? So I do peace, purpose, and profit, right? So let's talk. You're a trainer. That's your purpose, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So I'm gonna back up a little bit. You said peace, purpose, and profit, right?
And profit's the metric on how you know you're being successul.
Yeah. Okay.
We, you know, in business, money is usually the goal, right? It's the tool we're looking for to achieve as much greatness as we can. So, all right, go.
I'm gonna speak on the peace part.
Okay. Well,
right?
what gives you peace?
What gave me peace early on, I was a really good athlete. So in basketball, I was just okay. And so in high school, being very athletic and not being like a star player on that team in high school, one of the things that brought me peace was I know I could outwork them in the weight room. That brought me peace. And that translated to, for me, getting more playing time, right? And so that was my thing. So, and my purpose at that time was to be a leader in that environment. And I set myself apart from everyone else for the benefit of the team. Because with me having that piece of now I'm having more playing time, now I have full autonomy to be a leader in an area within a structure, right?
And this was when you were in high school?
This
like
was in
18?
high school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was early on. It was like 14, 15 years old. And so that brought me into working out. Now, when I became an adult, I wasn't necessarily serious about it, but I still enjoyed working out and I still loved helping people. So probably around 28. So my son, mom, and I, we had an idea because at the time she owned a barbershop and a hair salon, right? I said, hey, so we were lease option and building up. I'm like, there's some space over here. Let's put a gym there.
All right.
Right?
Yep. It's like the perfect front for,
yeah.
for money laundering.
Yeah. It was like,
put it on a laundromat. And
yeah. So it was like, and we did. So we were lease optioning a building out. So we made the top, we converted the top from commercial to residential.
Okay.
We lived upstairs and we worked downstairs. And so that kind of started my journey. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was my profit. And I was able to profit. The financial part came later on in life, but I was able to profit from learning the different aspects of fitness, meeting people where they're at, also being able to modify certain exercises and workouts to meet that person's need. So, yeah.
All right. So peace, you came, so you kind of hit it on a early, we talk about leadership, right? And it's interesting. I think leadership's one of those like things that you can't put your head around. I've always been called a leader. I don't agree with it. Like I just show up, like I'm doing me, right? And people naturally gravitate. And you probably maybe experienced some of that, but you were really intentional at an early age about being a leader and what it took to be a leader. So how does someone at 18 have that self-awareness, or even younger? And then how do you systemize that or be really purposeful in leading later on? Because you got to lead yourself first, and then now you're leading probably a team of trainers and a quandary of clients. You're leading them. So talk to me about your leadership journey.
So we all have the ability to lead. And at some point, I don't care if you're an introvert, an extrovert, at some point, you're going to be leading something, someone, a group. Where are you leading them to? That's the question.
I'm listening to you talk about your peace, purpose, and profit. Now, the thing that keeps in leadership, you kind of, you knew it or systemized it at an early age. I feel like I'm a leader. People tell me I'm a leader all the time, but I don't know what that means. I just show up and do me, right? But you were really intentional about it at an early age. So talk to me about your journey as a leader, because you're leading yourself, you're leading other agents, you're leading clients.
I'd say that we all are leaders. At some point in all of our lives, that we're going to lead something. We're going to lead someone. We're going to lead an organization. You're going to lead a institution. The question, a family, right? The question is, where are you leading them to? What are you leading them for? And why are you leading them? You can have bad leadership. You can have good leadership, right? We all have that ability. And I believe that's why we're here. The question is, are you willing to learn effective leadership? Because leadership, as we know of it today, for it to be effective, it's a learned behavior. Mm-hmm. You kind of model certain leadership styles from the environment that either you put yourself in or you were kind of forced to be in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You don't always get to define your own environment.
No.
Right.
Especially early on. Mm-hmm. Especially early on. Now, you may come across a moment in your life where your decisions or the choices you made, kind of put you in certain environments, right?
Good and bad.
Good and bad, right? Good and bad.
So I heard you talking before we got started with one of our team members here, and I heard something you said, and I won't repeat it because I won't be able to quote it correctly. But effectively, you were saying you're going to come into a season of your life when those around you aren't serving your direction anymore.
Yeah, because people, a lot of times, when you're making those changes, right, especially if you decide like, hey, I really want something. I want to leave a legacy. And if you look at your behaviors, if you look at certain standards that you've set for yourself, it's not an alignment with what you want, you're going to have to start removing those people that only remember you for what you were. And it's very important. You're going to have to white knuckle it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's not, I mean, you can see it plain as day, but it's not easy to get there.
Oh, no.
There's so much. A friend of mine, Harry Wilson, talks about the illusion of choice.
Wow.
Like, we think we have choices on how we can get to certain positions in life, right?
Yeah.
I want to be a homeowner. Well, okay. Then there's certain things you have to do, right? You got to have good credit. You've got to save up a down payment. Like, you can't have bad credit, no money, and be a first time home buyer. Like,
I agree.
They don't exist, right? And I hear a little bit of that in the same thing. Like, hey, I want to be super healthy. I want to be a great father. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to drink every night and party 3 times a weekend. Like, you don't have those choices don't line up.
No. For one, your behaviors don't match your goals, and you have a very low standard.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a very low standard. That's to be realistic.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that we just talked about in the beginning. Not willing to be uncomfortable to get yourself where you want to be.
Right. So I've been toying with this thing and I'm going to ask you to kind of help me with it because I think you can. I think there's 4 parts of, like, when you kind of get dialed in, when you know what's going on in your world, your business, your family, your personal life, you've got a why, you've got the right mindset, and you know the activities. But I think there's another part to that, and it's the because. Like, we talk about our whys all the time, right? Like, this is why I do what I do. Like, I want personal, professional, and financial prosperity for myself and my family and everybody in our organization. But why? Like, because, and I think my because is because my mother raised me and said, you can be anything you want to be. Like, she set my mindset. She didn't necessarily set my activities. Okay. So our activities and our mindset didn't align. So I think I'm in a place where in my life I was like, you know what? Like, the why is great. I know what the activities are. I know why the mindset. But then I go one step further and go, but why do I want that why?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel compelled to do that? So what's your because?
When I talk to Michael Bush and his team, my because is 100-year plan. That's the vision.
Okay.
That's the because. Yeah, you have a why.
Yeah.
You have a why. But my vision is what I see for my children's children. That's my vision.
You said 100-year plan.
It's a 100-year. It's a 100-year plan.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I'm doing today
is because I want to set up my kids 100 years from now.
100 years from now. So anybody I come across, my activities that I do, If it's not in alignment with that 100-year plan, it's not for me. They say, why you might not even live to be 100.
No, but my legacy will.
But my legacy will. My activities will. Some of the people I might get introduced to will live. It may surpass 100 years.
How old's your oldest kiddo?
My oldest kiddo is 26.
26. Youngest?
13.
Okay. So their kids are going to feel the effect of what you're doing right now. And you honestly believe that?
I do believe it. And ultimately, our beliefs becomes our reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you have to have a fundamental belief in something, or everything you're doing is like, I have a fundamental belief that if I stay on this road, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You may never see it, right? But so how does that show up in your daily life? I'm putting you on the spot, but yeah, 100-year plan. I've never thought about it. Like, I've got a 5-year plan, and I think that's ambition. You've got a 100-year plan.
It's a 100-year plan. It shows up by setting the tone, looking at when I get up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, finding my balance, what I'm doing to harmonize with life, right? Finding that balance, doing the things that's necessary for me first. As they say, put the mask on first. When the plane is going down, you've heard that, right? Put the mask on first.
If you don't take care of yourself, you can't help it.
There you go. And as soon as your feet hit the floor and you leave outside that door, you're on. You're on. When your feet hit the floor, if you have children in the house, if you have a significant other in the house, right? Even before you are the realtor or the business owner, your husband or your wife or your dad or your mom, you're on. So one of the things that I implement within to set the tone for the 100-year plan is I'm changing certain behaviors so I can teach certain behaviors, making me a priority. So when I'm teaching, like my children, and somebody else who might want to adopt this same kind of plan, hey, you're your first priority. Before you become a husband, a wife, or a mom, a dad, you have to make you your priority.
You can't fill up from an empty cup.
You can't fill up from an empty cup, and that cup might crack at some point. So that's the start, right?
Yep.
Then when you're in motion and you have momentum going, you're on. You're on from the time you step out of your door to the time you rest your head into your bed.
Yep.
You're on.
Yep.
So it's certain principles and certain standards that I've adopted into my life, and I implement it in my life daily that I'm comfortable with teaching now.
Yep.
And I see the effects of it.
And I think I hear you saying the first thing you do every morning is take care of yourself. Before there's any other distractions, before there's any other responsibilities, before there's any other human DNA tugging you to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to take, if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be energized. You're not going to have the ability.
There you go.
And that's something I found probably in the last 3 to 5 years is how important, because and this is my personal DNA, like I want to help everybody, right? And I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to help everybody. But if you're not taking, and I think going back to my mother, she wanted to help everybody too, but she didn't take care of herself first. And I wish she did, because she was an amazing human being, but she didn't take care of herself. So, and that's maybe part of our why we had some misalignment later on in life is like, I'm like, wait a second, your mindset's perfect, but your activities suck. Right? And I hate to, being honest, but when you take care of yourself, your capacity to influence people around you is multiplies. It goes back to James Clear and 1% and all that stuff. So, all right, so you set up your 100-year plan is you got to take care of yourself first.
Yes, you got to take care of yourself first.
That's not necessarily normal. we kind of laugh at people that today are like, I want to work on my work-life balance first. Like, you don't even have a job. Like, how are you going to work on your So I wonder if it's cart before the horse. But, we as a society are starting to understand, like, we're not using all the human body. Its capacity is so much greater than what we've given it credit for over the last 50 years.
I was speaking to one of your associates here. It's limiting. It's generational limitation.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So generational limitations is.
Have you coined that phrase?
I have not.
I think we should trademark it. Generational limitation.
Yes. Generational limitations, which is sometimes people just settle. Mm-hmm. Or they look at, well, I don't have the means to do this, or this was taken away from me and I can't do this, I can't do that. So when I came and spoke to your team, that's why we think that can do. What can I do? You create your means with what you have. And by creating your means with what you have, it might not be much, right? But you set a standard. And then you're looking at, again, they're not part of my 100-year plan. They're not part of what the overall objective is.
Right.
And now you're going to establish some boundaries for yourself and for other people. And I'm breaking that generational limitation because now I'm looking at potentially what this environment may be. Mm-hmm. And one of my influences is now I want to change my environment. I want to change not just what I see on the outside. I want to change the environment from within. Let me say that one more time.
Yeah, I'm marinating on that for a minute. Yeah.
So look, hey, I see what's going on around me. Mm-hmm. Now, what I've created, one mean is, you know what? I'm not going to stay out until 10 o'clock at night. I'm coming in at 8. And when I come in at 8, I'm just going to start journaling. And I noticed when I start journaling at 8 o'clock, I'm able to rest a little better. I'm able to get my thoughts out from just free writing. I'm able to look within myself and see some things that I like about myself and I dislike about myself. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to create some means to change that. And when do people change? When do people change?
When they're fully aware or it hurts too bad to stay in the same direction.
So in other words, people change only when they want to.
When they want to, yeah. Yeah. Whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Or unintentionally.
Yeah. It's going to be really painful, yeah.
So breaking that, the generational limitation, because people are, because of comfort. A lot of times it's comfort.
It's all comfort.
Yeah, it's all comfort. Like, you know what?
This is going to be, 2 episodes in a row I'm going to bring up this name. Gary Brecka. Have you heard that name? He's a Grant Cardone's nutritionist, but one of his things is old age is the pursuit of comfort. Like, if it's too hot outside, I'm going to stay in the air condition.
Yeah.
Grandma, you don't need to walk to the grocery store, but I do it every day, honey. Well, that's what's keeping her alive. Like
exactly.
That little bit of uncomfort.
Yeah.
It goes back to, riding a horse is supposed to be uncomfortable.
It's supposed to be uncomfortable.
And you think about, working out, like, how do you gain muscle? You tear it. It's almost counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Right.
You break it down.
You break it down, and then it builds back up stronger. So every time you make yourself uncomfortable, every time you break yourself down, whether it's a norm or a habit or a ritual, you tear it up. Something new is going to build and replace it.
There you go.
And as long as you're doing it, feeding it with the right proteins and feeding it with the right environment, it's going to build back bigger, better, faster.
Yeah. No. And and you start educating yourself. You start educating yourself. You become one of your best teachers in that sense. It's just like with anything, the more you put into it, the more education you're gonna have. It don't necessarily have to be formal education. One of the most important degrees that you're going to get in life is education of self.
Self-education. Yeah.
That's one of the most important degrees that you're going to get in life. You have, and I'm going to say this, right? I'm in the fitness industry. I'm a fitness coach. Where I work, there are so many doctors, cardiologists, you have orthos that come through there. And you would think, because they're a doctor in the medical field, they know what to do for themselves in the health field.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Is it they don't know what to do, or they're just hyper-focused on something else, they neglect it?
They neglect it.
Okay.
And a lot of them don't know what to do.
Right.
They're trained in a specific area.
I'm a rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
Is that right? Rheumatoid. Yeah. A doctor that deals
with arthritis
and stuff like that. Yeah. They're not necessarily going to know about the functions of
functional movements and,
dynamic flexibility, stuff like that. Yeah.
So one of the things I have a few clients that are doctors that come to me, and they talk to people about their blood pressure. They need to take care of this. I said, are you practicing what you're teaching or what you're sharing? Are you showing up? Are you being a living example? And when I share that, it's like the light bulb goes off. Like, wait a minute.
Wait a second. Yeah. Well, it's the truth. Like, I feel like I'm failing as a father right now. Big time. I want to lead my family and this, that, and that. And like the one place that I can't show up as a natural leader is in my house. I'm like, everybody else gravitates to me and listens to what I say. Why don't my kids? So it's interesting. You said, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. I should be able to take care of it brings me to think, you ever drove by a hospital and you walk outside and like all the nurses are huddled one block over off campus smoking.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you? And this is not a knock on nurses, because everybody does it in some capacity. But how do you live every day dealing with people that probably have chronic COPD or health, and then you walk right out there and go smoke? Like how do we get so disconnected with the reality around us that we submerge ourselves in a different environment? It's the ability to compartmentalize is so strong. I don't know why I went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's it's the old saying. I remember my grandparents or parents saying, "Do as I say and not as I do."
Yep.
Right. But we learn from a lot of times from what we perceive, especially as children.
Exactly. We're a direct reflection of who our parents were.
Yeah.
Right. Either directly or indirectly. Maybe you went the totally opposite direction, but at some point you're going to carry some of that baggage along with you.
It's going to have more influence because we based our beliefs and the things that, we learn from what we perceive, what we see. You have a percentage of people that just have that thing like, what, I'm absolutely not doing that. Right. I'm not going to generalize everyone. So it's like, it's going to have more influence for what you see. It's just like, hey, you're talking to this person about, their blood pressure or, their cholesterol level, but then they see you scarfing down a
big gulp of cheeseburger.
Big gulp of the cheeseburger and, a biggie fry or whatever. And it's like, well, you're doing that. I'm like, why can't I? Right. So it's just one of those things where, we have to lead by example.
Yep.
And so one of the things that my standard in the gym is I never ask a client to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Okay.
So every workout that
By the way, if y'all haven't seen this guy, like, I don't think there's anything in the gym he can't do.
the thing is, and I show them like, hey, in some of my workout with them, I am not asking you to do something. I'm not asking you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Absolutely.
Because they trust me with I'm responsible for them. That's how I look at it. I'm responsible for them. And with that responsibility, I want to show them that I'm willing to be on the front line with you.
Right.
Let's go. Not only, I just don't want to see you uncomfortable and struggle.
Right.
I'm going to do the same thing.
Well, your success is tied in their health outcomes.
And we are, so one of the things that, performance, one of their models and one of our core values is results, right? Where you get results. We get down there, we may bust out, 200 push-ups or whatever. I may add a little more.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I want people to see me also struggle. So one guy says, he said, "You are human." I said, "Yes, I am."
Now watch this. I'll bleed. If you cut me, I will bleed.
Yes.
I'm not a cyborg.
It works. It works. And I'm very appreciative because, and you wouldn't believe how many people come back just for that reason. Just for that reason.
Right. Well, you're practicing what you preach.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? You just posted a video of the exact same workout we did. I was like, yeah. And it was hard.
Yeah. You remember how hard it was for you? It's just hard for me.
Yeah. It was hard.
Yep.
And I have a lot of clients that have already sent text messages like, "Oh my God, you're serious?" I said, "Yes, I'm very serious."
Yep.
I'm in love with what I do.
You got to be.
I love the process. I love the grind, getting up to make the things that are important. Because my process and the grind is tied to the 100-year plan.
That's. I mean, to be again, I was like, hey, this year I'm going to have a 1-3-5. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. And I'm like, 5 years? That's a long time. Well, you're talking about 100 years. That's amazing. Yeah. All right, we've got less than 3 minutes, and I'm going to just. What is it that you want to share with the world that'll make the world a better place, make everybody's day better, something that you, in your core, that you want people to know that if they could love it the way you love it, their lives would be exponentially different?
Oh, when you see somebody else, know that you're looking at yourself at some point. So
in some cosmic, like, energy field connection.
It's not necessarily cosmic energy. It's when I see you, I see myself. So in other words, I've learned to be grateful for me. So I'm gonna learn to be grateful for you.
All right.
And honor being part of this great existence. Because it's a privilege to sit here with you, Jimmy. I'm honored to be sitting here, podcast, just.
Even though we don't have a name.
Yeah, we don't have a name. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very organic. Because a lot of times in our busy lives, even in our homes, you're not seen.
You're not what?
You're not seen.
Okay.
You're not seen. They don't really see you. So I make it a priority to let that person know that I'm dealing with at that moment that I see you.
All right, so this gives me chills because we were down in Key West about a month ago, and I say hi to everybody. Anytime I see somebody, I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're like, "Why do you talk to everybody?" I'm like, because we're humans, and there should never be a time where two human beings cross each other's paths and don't acknowledge their existence. Like, we're in this thing together. The fact that we're even here is mathematical anomaly.
Yeah.
Right? When you talk about your parents and, the night they did whatever and the number of possible DNA outcomes that could have happened. The fact that we're here is just extraordinary. And so for me to walk down the street and not acknowledge another human being, it's almost it's one of my like standards. Right? I'm going to say hi to her. My kids hated it. Like, why you talk to everybody? But it goes back to that same thing. Like,
because you don't know a smile, a handshake, or a simple "How are you?" can change a person's life.
The butterfly effect.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, and it's been times where, I'm gonna be completely honest, it was moments in my life where I didn't have this kind of like, mentality or mindset.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a person actually saw me, like, and it was like they was piercing through my soul. I was like, oh my God, right? But
Yeah.
they saw me.
Right.
And it changed everything. It made me want to be not only better for myself, but better for other people.
Absolutely.
And so it's a standard of mine.
Yeah.
They'll tell you when people walk through the gym, they say, hey, what's up? Call them by their first name.
Yeah.
What's going on? Give them a high five. Let's go.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You can change the environment around you. I love it. Jaaron, this probably won't be this is the first time, probably the last time.
Yeah.
Won't be the last time, because I know you've got some more depth to you about some things we didn't get into today. But
I would love to.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. And again, this was episode 8. If anybody has, number 1 is check out the YouTube channel. Number 2, if you got any suggestions for a name for this podcast, put it in the comments or call me or something. We got to come up with a name.
Yeah, we got to come up with a name. We leave that for that for the viewers.
I like it's a process. It's a process that's been on 2 different podcasts so far. So there's a couple themes that keep emerging. But again, I appreciate it, man. I hope you have a great day. You're probably about to go hit some clients. So
I am.
Not physically hit them, but work out with them. So, hey, brother, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy.